Well, how do you create a successful live event? Meaning an online event, a conversion event that actually gets you clients, actually gets you people to come in, to pay attention, to listen to what you have to say, and then make a decision to reach out to you, to buy from you, all the different things. I'm sure you've asked yourself this question, and I'm really excited to share all the details with you because I literally just went through a live event a few days ago, a few weeks ago, and I want to tell you a little bit of the behind the scenes of what happened, how we nailed it, how we succeeded, all the good things, and the things that could have been better. So, if you're similar to how I am, I have done a lot of live and automated events over the years. And so let's kind of simplify and walk you through all of the things that this means first, and so that we're on the same page. By the way, if you're watching me live, say hi in the comments. If you're watching this or listening to the replay afterwards, say hi as well, because I want to make sure that you're here, that we're listening to each other and we're paying attention, and that I'm kind of giving you things that are helpful. So, okay, let's kind of go into pieces, right? Let's kind of break this down into pieces before I walk you through the step-by-step of what happened, how we generated close to 50K in a matter of days, all of the amazing things that happen through our live event, and how you can kind of repeat some of those things for your business. What are the benchmarks to look for? What are the things that I'm like, oh, I should have done that better. I should have paid more attention, or I should have done things in a different way. And the things that I was like, damn, I really, really nailed it, right? Okay, so that being said, when I talk about a live event, I'm essentially talking about a live webinar, a live boot camp, a challenge, something that you're going on video live, and you are through your process, you're creating content, you're sharing content with your audience, and at the end, you're inviting them to take a very specific action, right? Whether that is booking a call with you, whether that is clicking on a button and buying your program, your online service, whatever it is that you're selling, whether it is, whatever the specific thing is, right? Whether it's a sales call or whatever that is. That is what I mean with a live event. Over the years, I've done quite a few. Mainly, I have done webinars. It's been the thing that I have enjoyed doing the most. But in the last few years, I've done a few webinars. Not webinars, live challenges, right? I think that up till now, I've maybe done around 4 or 5 over the years. In English, I've done a few more in Spanish as well. But I've done around 4 or 5 challenges over the years. And what a challenge is essentially you're going on live for a few days and sharing content. Every day you have your audience taking a specific action, like filling out a workbook or a worksheet or a thread or whatever it is. And then at the end of the challenge, you're selling them your program, right? That is literally what I just did. I hadn't done a live event like this since 2021. And, I had done okay with the ones that I did in the past. But what I've learned over the years is that doing a live challenge, a live event like this can feel very exhausting. It's a very energetically draining activity because you're going live every single day and there's a lot of prep work that needs to be done for it. And I hadn't felt called to it. I have an evergreen model, meaning people enroll into my programs all the time. I have my webinar going on, which is automated. I do live events from time to time, like live webinars and things like that. So I hadn't really felt the need to do a live event. However, this time around, something changed within me. I just felt like doing it. It felt exciting. It felt like something that I really wanted to do. I hadn't done one in a while, and it just flooded in. I talked about this during the live event. I was at the DMV on a Friday from 10 in the morning or 10:30 in the morning to 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Don't ask, it is what it is. And that's when I had these ideas flooding in and all of the details of ooh, I want to create this. And I wrote like crazy, so many ideas of what I wanted to do for the event. And what I like is that when that sort of thing happens, that you're so excited, you just can't control yourself. You need to pay attention to that because there's something there. So that's how I created my event. That being said, I want to kind of give you a big picture of what are the parts of a challenge like this one, and sort of so that you can kind of prepare yourself, right? So there's essentially 3 core pieces to this. There's the pre-event content and prep that needs to be done, the actual event, and then the post-event. And I know that this sounds obvious, but I still want you to be kind of break down all of these little pieces so that you understand what they are. And if you are thinking about doing a live event in the future for your business or as a way to generate leads and sales, I think it's important for you to understand what's involved. So the first part is the pre-event content, because obviously we want to focus on inviting people to this event. One of the benchmarks that you need to pay attention to and you need to understand, and I think that people get like wrong expectations about, is the show up rate. The typical show up rate for a live event in today's world is around 25%, meaning about 25% of the people that sign up for your event are actually going to show up live. And what that means is that you need to make sure that you have more people enrolled into your free event if you want more people to watch you live, right? So that pre-event content has to be very dialed in, and you need to really focus around on how many, like you want to run on your numbers and understand how many people do I want in, what am I shooting for, what's doable for me, what's a stretch, all these different things, right? So in your case, or in my case, or in any case, you really want to focus on that pre-event content. Now, there's also two pieces to the pre-event content. First, it's the content that's going to get people to show up, to invite them to the actual event, right? So it's like, how do you invite people in? What type of content do you create? How do you create excitement around this event and, you know, this desire for people to sign up for it and all those things? So we need to think about that. Depending on how many people you're planning on enrolling into your free event, you need to prepare beforehand. So if you're trying to get a lot of people in and you have a very small audience or following, it means that you probably are going to need a little bit more time. So if you're like, well, I have a following of, I don't know, like less than 1,000 people, and I want to get 500 people into the live event, it's going to take quite a bit of time for you to get there, because even if you have 1,000 people in your email list, not the 1,000 of them are not going to actually sign up for your event. So we need to think about these things too, right? And, you know, if the more people that you want to get in and the less people that you have in your audience, the more time it's going to take or whatever, right? Like you just need to take these things into account. And I think that sometimes people don't take these things into account. They're like, whatever, like it's fine. I'll get 1,000 people in and I'll figure it out. And you start promoting like a week before the event starts or whatever. That's not how it works. So you really need to take these things into account. In my case, I had a goal of around 400 to 500 people to sign up for the event. And I knew that it would take me around 3 to 4 weeks to get these people to sign up. However, what happens is that this whole thing for me was something that kind of was channeled through, like I was mentioning, I was in the DMV and it all came through. And what happens with me personally is like, I move really quickly with a lot of things. So I planned it out for around 3 weeks in advance, and which was perfect for me. And I'll tell you a little bit about our numbers in a second, like what it ended up being, how many people enrolled, all the details as well. So what we found is, so around 3 weeks is a good amount of time, but obviously you want to be very realistic with how many people you're going to get to sign up for your free event after that, right? Important details to think about. The other part is that if you're starting to promote your event 3 weeks in advance, that means that there's going to be somebody that's going to sign up for the live event 3 weeks before it happens. The time between that and the time between the day of the live event, you need to be nurturing that audience as well. Like getting them excited about what's coming in the live event and making sure that you're keeping them warm, because otherwise it's very unlikely that these people are going to show up. If you're promoting it with too much anticipation, like if you're promoting it 2 months in advance, that's really difficult for you to get these people to show up live. So I actually don't recommend going over 3 or 4 weeks, and even 4 weeks is a little bit of a stretch, but you can, like if you really keep people warm, things that you could do to get your show up rate to be higher is like even doing retargeting ads, meaning like you're running ads for the people that have already signed up for the event and you're giving them some sort of, content or that's going to keep them nurtured, or you're running ads showing them, hey, day one is live right now, or whatever that is. And I think that tends to be helpful in getting more people to show up live. So first piece then is the pre-event content, inviting people in and nurturing the people that have already signed up for it. The second piece is the actual live event. And you want to, carry this in however way it feels good to you. I've heard it all, right? I've heard live challenges that are 3 days long, live challenges that are 10 days long. In my experience so far, when I've done this, and I haven't done many throughout the years, I've maybe done 5, but in my experience, the longer it is, the harder it is to get people to stay connected to you. So it's going to be up to you how long you want it to be. But I kind of feel like the sweet spot is around 3 days long. Obviously, it can be longer. In fact, the one that I just did was about 5 days long. And I had a couple of little bonus trainings after that. But I actually think that the next time that I run this event, I'm going to do it for 3 days only, because I think that it's easier to keep people really connected to you if it's 3 days. But I mean, and again, this is just my personal experience, because again, I've seen people who do these really, really successfully for longer than 5 days, like literally 10 days or whatever. But in my personal experience, I think that the sweet spot is 3 days. The other piece is that what I personally did it throughout the week, Monday through Friday, right? Every single day of the week. And one of the ones that I've seen lately that I really like is to spread it out throughout 2 weeks. So it's like Monday is the first one, Thursday is the second one, and then the following Wednesday is day 3. And I kind of feel like that is something that might make sense a lot as well, because people are busy and I don't know if they're going to be able to take a whole week off to be with you. So I feel like that works well. But also the caveat to this is that you really need to keep people very, very engaged for that show up rate to continue being high. So in my case, I did it over 5 days. I feel like our show up rate was really, really good, especially considering it was 5 days, because naturally it's going to start diminishing, right? Like the first day, it's going to be really, really high. And then as the days go on, it's going to go lower. So I think that those are things to take into account. That day one has to be extremely powerful, extremely mind-blowing, so that they show up for day 2. And what I did this time is that I started pitching on day 2. So in the past, when I've done events like this, I waited to pitch for on day 4 instead of the beginning. So by then the viewership rate or the attendance rate was lower, and therefore it's a little bit harder for you to get more people to listen and watch the pitch, right? So what I did differently this time is I pitched from day 2. So somebody says in the comments that I've only ever done a 1-day masterclasses to launch. Me too. This is just a different variation of it, right? So instead of doing a masterclass, a live webinar, a live workshop, or whatever it is, which is really powerful, and I'll do a whole other episode talking about that, this is just a different way to engage your audience. There's a lot of stats that have come out around how long it takes people to buy from you and how much nurture is required. And essentially, the more time that people are with you, the easier it is for them to make a decision to buy, because I guess they can connect with you in a different way. You can establish that authority. They get to listen to you, your expertise, your way of looking at things. So the more days or the more hours that somebody can listen to you, the more likely they are going to be at connecting with you. Somebody says, I personally hate launching. I love my groups once they come together. I hate wrangling everyone for it though. Well, here's the thing to answer to that question. It really comes down to the content and how you're creating that content. Because I think that what's tough about launching, and the reason why I personally hadn't done a launch like this in over 2 years, is that it feels heavy to create all of it. But what happened to me is that I just had this flow of ideas coming through around what I wanted to create. And I felt like it was a new iteration of me and the new version of where I was at and the things that I wanted to share around messaging and content creation, all these things. And it felt exciting. And it never felt like I'm wrangling people to join. It felt like I can't wait to to share people what I've got. And this is it feels the most exciting thing in the world to talk about my offer to pitch publicly, and all that. And I'll share more details about that in a second. But anyway, so I kind of feel like the sweet spot is around 3 days. You can do 2 days if you wanted to. Obviously, you can do 1 day, but then that's a webinar. It's not a challenge, really. It's kind of a different format, essentially. So I feel like that is something really powerful. In terms of the live event, I started pitching on day 2. The other thing that I did differently that I hadn't done in a while was really openly talk about pricing for my program. And I enjoyed doing that so much because I feel like the first time that I did a challenge like this one, well, actually, no, I'm going to take that back. The first time I did a launch was in 2018, like a challenge launch was in 2018, when I launched Breakthrough Brand, which is my group coaching program for the first time. That time I talked about pricing. It was a 3-day challenge that ended with a live webinar that had it was this whole crazy process. And I ended up enrolling a lot of people in it, and it was amazing and super fun. So that was the first time that I did it. But then that was in 2018. I repeated that process in 2020. And I had significantly raised my prices since then. And what happened in that launch in 2020 is that I made 1 sale for my full one-on-one package, which was awesome, but I wanted to sell the group program instead. So I felt like I had been, I had this fear around saying the price of it and how people would react or whatever. That was in 2020. When I repeated it in 2021, I didn't say the price. I just invited people to book a call. I don't remember right now, if I'm being honest, how many people enrolled from that, but I don't think that many did. So this time around, when I pitched, I was excited to share the price. A lot has changed in Breakthrough Brand, my group program. I had so many people that have gone through the program by now since 2018 that have gone through it successfully. The group that I have right now is amazing. The results that people are getting are amazing. And I feel very confident about the price that I have and all these different things. So I loved sharing the price, and it felt really, really good to me. The content, how I executed it this time around as well, was very different. I feel like when I've done launches like this in the past, I focus a lot on teaching people what they needed to do. This time around, I focused on telling people who they needed to be successful. And I really did a lot of education around how you need to show up as a leader and what it means to be a leader and what it means to attract better leads and like who is the leader that attracts these ready to invest clients. So I went into that a little bit more, and it really gave me a lot better results. And I'll tell you my numbers in a second. So that is the content for the actual event. You really want to think about what you want to teach. If it's 3 days long, how do you want to spread it out? How you want to, divide it up or whatever. I focus in my main brand pillars, which are that messaging foundation. That's what I talked about in day 1. In day 2, I talked about how do you position yourself. I talked about your audience. Actually, I talked about your audience and how to position yourself in day 2. In day 3, I talked about marketing and content creation. So those are kind of my 3 main pillars. But then tied to that, on day 4, we also talked about sales and how we do sales and all of that process. Day 5, I did a live Q&A, which was absolutely 100% amazing and something that I'm thinking that I'm going to be doing once a month anyways for my audience. So I'm going to do a live Q&A in Zoom for anybody that has questions around messaging or whatever that is. I feel like it's brilliant. It was super fun to do. So that's kind of what that looked like. So then the third part of doing a live challenge is the post-event content, which again, you have to send out the emails. And I think this is one of those things, one more time, where people are like, well, I sent 2 emails. Nobody bought. I don't know what's wrong with me. You have to do the whole process. If you're going to do this, you have to go all in and write the emails and prepare all the details and do all of the things that are necessary for you to be able to enroll the people that are ready to enroll. One thing that I did do wrong is that I didn't realize that my challenge ended with Memorial Day weekend. And I didn't realize, because I'm not from the US, that Memorial Day weekend is a big, people really do take that weekend off. So I had a lot of people that reached out to me afterwards saying, I haven't been able to watch the videos, or I haven't been able to go through the whole thing. I'm on vacation or blah. So I do think that it's important for you to take those things into account when you're doing an event. For the next time, I'm definitely going to do that. So, okay. That being said, I'll tell you a little bit about or some other things again that we need to take into account. How many people you want at the event, planning accordingly to that. The more people that you want, the more time you need, but also you need more nurture in the middle, like I mentioned before, or you need to spend more money on ads to get more people to sign up as well. Obviously, if you are doing affiliates, it's also a great strategy, but I do recommend doing that with time as well, which is I did bring some affiliates for my event, but I didn't do it with time because all of this came through so quickly for me that I reached out to some key people who brought in a lot of people to sign up for the event. But I feel like it could have been better if I would have done it with more time. That being said, we did have really, really amazing numbers at the end. So to give you some like general perspective on what those numbers would look like for like the normal regular numbers, like I said, about 25% of the people that sign up show up. That's the typical number. And about 1% of the whole list tends to buy approximately. That's not always true, but that's 1% of the list, like whether they show up or not. Right? Not such a good number to take into account. You need to have more people to watch. But anyways, and then the typical number is around 2 to 3% of the people that actually watch the event buy. In our case, we were close to 4%, which was awesome. In fact, we were a little bit over 4%. So we had 300 people sign up for the live event, about 100 or 300 and something. And then about 100 and something people ended up watching it, which is really cool. We had higher than the 25%, show up or attendance rate, which was really nice. And then we had 4 people enrolled into the program. 3 of them enrolled into Breakthrough Brand, which is what I was actually promoting. And then one of them said, you know what? I love this, but I actually want to work with you one-on-one instead. So I had 3 people enroll into my group program, 1 into my one-on-one program. And then I had 2 people that put down sizable deposits to hold their spot at the current price point. Like they reached out, they were like, Fabi, I have things going on. I'm going away for summer, blah, 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 blah. Can I put a deposit down? So we had 4 people straight up join, and then 2 additional ones that are put down deposits to begin afterwards as well. So a total of 6, but I'm actually only counting the 4 because I kind of like to be honest with, well, we'll see what happens with the deposits. How people sometimes are, it is what it is, right? So that means that we made around 50K in sales during that week, which is absolutely amazing. And we were really happy with it. And I feel like at the end of the day, the numbers were really on point with the typical KPIs and typical things that are normal for this type of event. I feel like it gave me a lot of great ideas of things to focus on moving forward. Like, I feel like I'm going to be doing more of these live events in the future. Probably I'm going to repeat it again at the end of September. So my plan is to maybe do this 2 or 3 times a year, probably more close to 2 times a year. But I really enjoyed it. And one of the things that I loved about it is that it gave me the momentum that came from it was very different. And the people who booked the calls with us and obviously the people that enrolled are absolutely amazing and perfect fits and people that were really ideal. One of these people were completely cold, like had never heard of me up until like a week before. And she came in and she's absolutely amazing. And then the other 2 had been around my space for a little while. Actually 2 were brand new to me and 2 had been around for a while. So it was really interesting to see how that happened. And I'm really excited to repeat it again. I feel like probably next time I have my plan for what I'm doing. I'll share with you what our plan is actually, because I feel like, I'm here sharing with you the behind the scenes. I might as well. So our plan is we currently run ads in our business. Our plan is to increase our ad spend for our current funnel and process and the things that we are doing right now. And obviously increasing our organic work for the regular stuff. So I'm not talking about the live event. And then once I do the live event, every 6 months or whatever, I'm going to spend more money in retargeting ads. So what that means is I'm going to run ads for people that are already in my email list. And I feel like that's a really, really effective way to get more people in at a cheaper price point. Not cheaper price point, but it's less expensive than running a live event like this to cold traffic. Or at least that's what my experience has been like. And my intention with doing these twice a year is to get more people in and increase our recurring income from all of this. Because one of the things that I'm personally really focused on this year is to get our recurring income as high as we possibly can. Right now, our recurring income is around 22, 23K per month recurring, which is really amazing. Meaning like every single month we're making that, whether we make a new sale or not. So my intention with doing an event like this is getting even more people to sign up in the premium plan option, so that we can keep on increasing our recurring income. My goal is to get our recurring income closer to 50K per month. So we're almost halfway there, which is amazing. And it's going to keep on increasing. So we're going to keep on growing and getting more people into this live event, getting more people to enroll from there. We already have a lot of clarity on our numbers, and we can go from there. And when I say recurring, by the way, that doesn't count for new sales that come in. Like literally today, we had a new client enroll who paid for like a $15,000 program. So, obviously we have people coming in all the time, and there's somebody that's paying in full. So it's kind of a different scenario. But I do want to have that recurring income become higher and higher and higher, so that it's easier for us to hit higher income goals at the end of the month or whatever, the end of the year, whatever it is. So that's kind of what I'm thinking of. And that's kind of what my plan is moving ahead. I really enjoyed doing the live event. It was absolutely amazing. The numbers were spot on. And this was a great test because I hadn't done a live event like this in years, like literally over 2 years. But now I have all the assets ready. And what I tend to do when I do it like more than once, and I'll feel into this, I'll talk about that in a second. But what I tend to do when I'm doing an event like this is that I'll repurpose everything that I just did. So all the event emails, I'll repurpose them. I'll repurpose the actual content, the follow-up emails, all of it. I'll rewrite certain things, obviously, but I'm going to just use exactly what I already have in there and just keep using that. The other part is that for this strategy to work, and this is true for anything, you have to really feel into it. It has to feel exciting. It has to feel like something like, I can't wait to do it. Not like, I have to do this event and I'm like, no, it has to feel like something that is really, really powerful for you and exciting for you. So that's my plan. That being said, if you are planning on doing or thinking of doing an event like this, what I recommend, or even not, but you like doing live events or you like doing webinars or challenges, I recommend going to readytoinvestclients.com to sign up for my free training on how to attract more ready to invest coaching clients into your business, like premium people. So in that training, I really walk you through how to do that, how to really attract these ideal clients in. You could do that in readytoinvestclients.com. Let me know if this was helpful for you, and I can't wait to see you in another episode. Bye.